Again, chapter 4, verse 29. This is the second reading from Nasso. As for the sons of Merari, you shall count them by their families according to their fathers' houses, from the age of 30 years old and upward until the age of 50. You shall count them all who come to the legion to perform the service of the 10th meeting. So what if somebody didn't come to the legion? So what if somebody didn't show up? And maybe there was people between the ages of 30 and 50 who are not eligible to serve because there were certain deficiencies, there were certain things that cause a person to be ineligible for service. So we're again having to say that there's potential that these numbers that we're getting to are not the real total. This is the charge of their burden and for all their service in the tent and the meeting, the planks of the Mishkan, its bars, its pillars, and its sockets, the pillars of the surrounding courtyard, their sockets, their pegs, and their ropes, all the implements for all the work involved. You shall designate by the name the implements charged for them for their burden. This is the services of the families of Merari for all the service in the tent and the meeting, which was under the supervision of Itamar the son of Aaron the Cohen. So Itamar not only he supervised the other family too, the Gershonite family, and he supervised the Merari family. So that's already, those two groups alone are a lot of people. So I don't know how one person could have supervised all that, but apparently that's what the Torah says. It is not, apparently it is what the Torah says directly, but it's quite difficult to imagine one person supervising two large groups of people, which are each group is over 1,000 people, and they were not allowed to do anything except for exactly what they're designated to do. They weren't allowed to help each other out. Each family had to do exactly what the family was designated to do. So, and all this was done precisely. We're going to learn. Okay. Moses and Aaron and the chieftains of the congregations counted the sons of the Kohites according to their families and according to their fathers' houses. So now we have Moses and Aaron together working and counting. So before it was just Aaron or Moses would count, and sometimes Aaron's mentioned, but here they're mentioned together. Okay. And for this family, the age of 30 years old and upward till the age of 50, all who came to legion and service and attended the meeting, their tally according to the family was 2,750. So again, we see it's a large number. These are the numbers of the Kohathite family, all who served in the tent of meeting, all who were counted by Moses and Aaron as directed by the Lord to Moses. The tally of the sons of Gershon according to their families and their fathers' houses from the age of 30 years old and the age of 50 years, all who came to Legion for the service of the tent of meeting, their total according to their families and their fathers' houses was 2,630. These are the numbers of the families of the sons of Gershon who served the tent and meeting, whom Moses and Aaron counted as directed by the Lord. The tally of their families and the sons of Merari according to their families and their fathers' houses. See, people will say like, okay, so there's this whole theory out there that the Torah was written by J, E, P, and D, like these groups of people that wrote the Torah later, and it wasn't revealed to Moses Rabbeinu, obviously. Like there's this whole theory out there called the documentary hypothesis. But why, if it was written later and edited, wouldn't they have like condensed all this? They want. It's very, very repetitive. So the Torah. Why would editors of the Torah allow for so much repetition if it really was sewn together and put together as a later document by people who lived after all these events happened? Why would they leave it like this? That's one of my many questions against the documentary hypothesis people, which I did study in university for a year. I did study this whole theory. 1 year doesn't make me an expert in it, but it's just a real obvious question that people should raise when they're reading these documentary hypothesis people. They should just ask like this general question: why didn't they do a better job of editing? The tally of the families and the sons of Merari according to their sons of from the age of 30 years old and upward until the age of 50 years old, all who came to Legion from the work of the tent of the meeting. Their tally according to their families was 3,200. These are the numbers of the families of the sons of Merari who Moses and Aaron counted as directed by the Lord to Moses. All the numbers whom by Moses, Aaron, and the chieftains of Israel. So we see there's other people involved. So it says all the numbers whom by Moses, Aaron, and the chieftains, which are the Nassim, counted the Levites according to their families and their fathers' houses. So the other people did do counting. There were other people involved, but they're not mentioned specifically, but by name. from the age of 30 years old and upward until the age of the 50 years old, who are fit to perform the service for the service as a work of carrying the tent of the meeting. Their tally was 8,580. As directed by the Lord, they were appointed by Moses, each man to his service and his burden. They were counted as the Lord had commanded Moses. Okay, we're going to stop here and go forward into the next reading.